still going.
Welcome back, episode 31 of Revisited. Finally out of Bleach.
Finally, man!
It was fun, and then it just wasn't. Ram sucked the energy out the entire room.
Oh boy, if we had went in order, it would have just been like, okay, we can't even do Bleach Month anymore. Because that would have been the second video. It was like, alright, Bleach Month is canceled. We got what we got.
So we said we needed to do something fun, and we went through a whole list of things we can do. And we had a lot to go through, but it kept coming back to like the Cosmo Last of Us video and Cosmo Last of Us video. That's the one we're gonna do. I thought The Last of Us was okay. I think it was a little heavy-handed. Let me take that back. I think it was a lot heavy-handed in its messaging. I didn't like the characters as much as the first one. That includes the main characters and ancillary side characters. I did not like the people just screaming characters' names after you shoot them to just be like, these are humans, these are people. I didn't like that. And it was fairly forgettable. It wasn't fun, but I feel like video games don't need to always be fun. Because I said The Last of Us 1 was not fun. The multiplayer mode is fun, but the single player mode of that is not fun, but it's good. This is not fun, and it's not good to me.
Yeah, I feel mostly the same way as you. You said it was mostly okay. I'm leaning more towards it's kind of really a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's definitely a mess.
And there's just take off whole swaths of it. Just remove this. We don't need so many just rolling through Seattle and this and this. Mm-hmm. There's just too much. You can shorten this game by like 10 hours and it just be like nothing's really missed.
And I like the Abby section better than Ellie's. That's just me. People hated Abby's section, but she had the better villain. She had the better characters.
People hate Abby. That's the biggest issue. So if you don't like Abby, you're gonna.
Why would you hate Abby?
Yeah, why? There's no real reason to. None that I can think of personally.
You know what? Maybe if she killed a beloved character, she would. So I didn't hear any of this video except Manga Comments. Like 4-second clip of Cosmonaut laughing and saying that Joel is not a beloved character. And it's just like, what are you
even talking about? That's so untrue that it's baffling.
So let's just get into it.
So after a few days, I have finally beaten The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay, he must have did what I did. I was basically spending 10 to 12 hours a day to beat this game. I was on vacation at the time, and I was just like, let's finish it. And it was like 3 to 4 days, and I'm like, okay, I'm finishing this game today. And I'm like, okay, this is the end. And then it was like 8 hours left.
I woke up one morning to a Discord message. It was just like, you Last of Us 2 end. Yeah, it was like 3 false ended. It's like, all right, let's go.
There were legit like 6 points it could have ended on.
Absolutely.
And it just went, nah.
Enjoy it? Well, not the whole time. I mean, I should point out that I didn't even really like the first game all that much. I think that game has a 10 out of 10 story with 6 out of 10 gameplay. For me, a sequel has to justify why it exists. Did this story need...
Not necessarily. Because that would imply that it needs to be like a direct continuation of something.
It needs to do something. As long as you want to see more of these characters and more of this world.
Even just more of the world. Because the Final Fantasy games aren't contingent on past games most of the time. It's just its own like thing. As well as something like Legend of Legaia Dual Saga. It doesn't necessarily deal with the events of the first game, but it's a good game. It's a roughly good game. I'm not gonna say it's a good game. Unlike something like Brave Fencer Musashi, where it's just like, I didn't need the second game to be like this.
Sequels don't need to justify themselves. It's just If they want to do it, do it. If not, whatever.
As long as you're good,
Yeah.
I don't care that you came back with a second one.
Yeah, just make it quality, or just have a little bit of fun stuff. Yo Son Goku Returns, that's just a little fun, little side thing. Just like, hey, here's these characters doing some stuff. Here's a villain. They fight the villain. It's more of the same Dragon Ball stuff that you've come to know and love, and you move on. It's fine.
Justify why it exists. Did this story need to be continued?
Does any story need to be continued?
I think that if you look at something like the first Star Wars, where there's a lot of stuff going on,
Cliffhangers and things to tie around.
Yeah, something like that. And you know, the sequel to it, there's still an unresolved plot line. Unresolved plot lines and stuff like that absolutely needs to continue. Something like this where it's self-contained and like, I would like to revisit this world. Maybe not.
I would like to see the fallout of what happened with Joel and Ellie, but if that was just like a DLC, I would have been just as fine with it, as opposed to a proper sequel.
They definitely could have done like the Maw thing, where they just short load 4 or 5 hours. She finds out she doesn't. You think she knows, whatever. It's fine.
Really worth it? And that's what we're going to talk about today. As usual, I'm going to start with non-spoiler stuff and then warn you guys for spoilers later. So let's start with the only non-spoiler aspects, the gameplay. My relationship with the gameplay in The Last of Us 2 is very strange. For the first quarter of the game, I was not having fun at all. The game did not really challenge me, and most of what you do is walk around in a semi-open area looting cupboards and occasionally sneaking past zombies. Opening drawers and unlocking safes is not gameplay. The safes...
It absolutely is gameplay, even if it's not engaging gameplay.
Yeah, it's...
But you personally weren't engaged by the gameplay. People do like looking through things and looting and actually feeling like they're surviving in a world of needing to survive.
Yeah.
Honestly...
Look at something like Death Stranding, where most of the game is just lugging around stuff. You fight some monsters every now and again, but it's just lugging around stuff. Is that not gameplay? Absolutely is.
People love it.
Yeah. And then you got to look at stuff like you got your Telltale games, your David Cage games, stuff like Animal Crossing. There's a bunch of just little busy work games like that.
Even something like Nelky and the Alchemist of it's not Arlen, but the Alchemist of the Atelier or whatever. It's basically a lot of city management as opposed to just like a proper RPG. It's busy work. It's literally just like, get these people to do this, get these people to sell this, build some buildings, investigate some ruins, and you just do that over and over and over again. And I played the shit out of that game.
And let's look at it something like this. What about like an RPG where you have to go, okay, I need like a gold ring, and I know this enemy has, and I have to fight this enemy 100 times before I got it. You're doing the same thing over and over again and just getting stuff that way. How is this any different?
And unlocking safes is not gameplay. The safes are honestly the most irritating things in the game. The combinations are always located in the room right next to them, so they're really not that hard to find. And if they're not...
Yeah, but they are if you're not looking for stuff, if you don't want to go through them drawers and stuff. And here's the thing. Optional.
Yeah.
Oh, don't open the safes.
Nobody's forcing you to.
But there's some
like
good
one
stuff.
Time.
Yeah, but there's some good stuff in them. So, and I remember one safe was upstairs. Like you had to go to you had to bust a window out of a locked room, get the combination, go down through a market into where the safe was. There was another safe where you had to go into a locked area in like a pawn shop. So it's not just necessarily, oh, here's the combination, turn to the side, here's the safe, let me enter it. And plus, a lot of the times, the combinations themselves are like puzzles, because they'll be like, it's the 30th anniversary, and the combination is our anniversary, so you'll go to a calendar and see a circled date, but then you gotta think 30 years in the future of where this, in the past where this calendar is. So if the calendar is 2011, you gotta go 81, that's the last number, plus the dates. So
are you telling me that Cosmo is being too general with his criticism? Are you telling me that this is happening in the year of our Lord 2021?
Hard to find, then just let me open the treasure chest without having to unlock it. This mechanic exists to waste my time and make me feel like I earned the loot.
You did earn it by finding the thing you needed to open it. You're basically going, it's easy to open a chest if I've got keys, so just skip the keys and keep the door and just keep the treasure chest open. Okay, how about you go collect the keys I laid out for you instead to open this?
And this is what, some 20-odd years into the apocalypse? If that thing was just open, it would already be taken.
That makes sense, huh? And you know, looters aren't going to look at a scrap of paper and go, oh, combination, safe, blah, blah, blah. They're going to go, let's grab the cans of food and the supplies and get the out of here.
This just isn't worth our time to try to figure this crap out. Oh, look at the calendar and see that a dog is employee of the month and that's the combination? No.
It exists to waste my time and make me feel like I earned the loot. It really is the most shallow type of puzzle that this game has to offer, and I am saying puzzle very loosely. The other kind of...
Do you have to figure something out? Then it's a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Do you need to figure out when the dog is employee of the month and figure all that crap out? Yes? Okay, then it's a puzzle.
Usually revolve around ropes. The Last of Us 1 had a dozen ladder puzzles, and this one decided to shake things up. Sorry ladders, ropes are my new best friends. But ropes aren't as prevalent as the ladders, and they aren't really as annoying, mostly because the ropes are used differently every time. You can get kind of creative with how you use them, and the rope physics kind of stop the puzzles from being annoying. Now, while the puzzles aren't really a deal breaker for me, the one thing that got really annoying was the level design. This game has much bigger environments than the first game, and honestly, it's kind of overwhelming a lot of the time. There are a lot of situations where you'll get disoriented and lost and have no idea where to go. For the most part,
never once got lost. There's only one area that's not essentially a larger corridor, and that's when you're in the quote-unquote open world of Seattle, where you're looking at the map and trying to decide where to go. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's basically laid out as a corridor, and if you spend too many minutes futzing about, they go, hey, look at that thing!
Over here.
Block off areas that you can't traverse with like vines and shit, but it's still really hard to tell where the game wants you to go. And
never once got lost.
On a waypoint setting that'll tell you where to go, but that's not really an excuse. If the developers added that setting knowing that you're gonna get lost sometimes, then it's on them to just make the layout of these areas less confusing.
No, how about this? They knew that some people would not be able to go where they wanted them to go based on the level design, and some people just want a quick, fun experience to get from point A to point B without going, where is B?
And also, if it was made more simplified, he'd be complaining about that. The levels are too simple.
On top of that, it's an accessibility option, just like picking up loot that's around you as opposed to opening every drawer.
And on top of that, you get lost, you find more loot.
I think in every wide open area, I got confused at least once. I'm either really...
That's your fault.
That's your problem.
Like, that has nothing to do with the next gamer. What if they get lost 0 times? Are they just an excellent gamer? Are you just a bad gamer? Or do people have different experiences and some people can figure out things more easily than others? Darkside Phil is a confirmed idiot.
No!
But there are times where he'll figure out things that people are like, oh, he's going to get stuck on this, and they're wringing their hands just waiting. And he's like, okay, done with that. And then there's times where people are like, this is the easiest thing in the world. And he's like spending 3 hours going, I don't know what to do. Some things are just easier for some people.
Stupid or the levels are confusing, and since I refuse to accept any of my mistakes, I'm gonna go ahead and blame the video game this time. Now, between the exploration, there are combat segments, and this is where the game really saved itself for me. To put it simply, murder never felt so good. Now, when I started playing the game, I was playing on the medium difficulty because I wanted to beat the game fast and get this review out. But I got really
terrible.
Yeah, that's a pure, simple, that's a very odd way to look at it. I just want to play this and get this review out as quickly as possible, get them views, get the
clicks.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I don't really want to engage with the game on any level. I just want to get to the end.
Yeah, just take your time, figure things out. Maybe that's what the issue was. You was just rushing it, and you got turned around a couple times.
But then, I wasn't necessarily rushing it, but I wanted to finish the game. But I never got turned around. I was just like, in the end.
So I turned the difficulty up to the highest setting, and it was like night and day. Before I could just run and gun like I was playing Doom, and there was no tension whatsoever, but the highest difficulty really feels like the true Last of Us experience. Ellie dies so fucking fast.
Hey, how about this? Isn't it on the developers to put a difficulty that's intense enough for balanced? Yeah. Why is it inexcusable to have a waypoint, but it's excusable to put it up to the highest difficulty?
That's a good point.
Ammo is so scarce that you really have to use every tool at your disposal to survive. Bottles become more valuable as they're more common than ammo, and they can net you a kill if you use them right. The game seriously turns into Metal Gear Solid on this difficulty. I'm one of the few people who like when stealth is done well in video games, and the stealth in this game...
What? What does that mean?
People like to run it good, I guess.
He's one of the few people that likes when stealth is done well in a video game. So there are other people, when they see stealth done well in a video game, they hate it?
I guess I would feel.
He
hates stealth. He hates stealth mechanics.
Well, we can't. Phil is an anomaly. That's not fair. We can say Phil for anything.
Is really good. The enemy AI makes things super unpredictable too. Sometimes an enemy will cry out if you jump at them with an axe, and sometimes they don't. You may do the exact same route the exact same way, but sometimes the AI is just going to do something completely different, and that's kind of cool. They really do feel more unique because they act like real people. If you shoot from a hiding spot, they'll call out the exact place you shot from. People clown on the fact that the NPCs shout each other's names, but I actually kind of like it. It adds another level of realism, and other games...
Oh my good.
I hated it.
It's really bad. You got it after, like... the first couple of times, like, okay, yep, it's just Frank, Buster, my dog, no.
What added a level of realism to me was when, before you start attacking people, they'll just be walking around going, hey, are you going down to the beach on Friday? Nah, I gotta stay home, the wife is blah, blah, blah. That adds more realism because it makes it seem like they're actual people that are just on duty doing their job, as opposed to just going... Philly, no.
Yeah, it's way too heavy-handed to just be like, these are people too. You're killing people. Don't you feel sad? They got a whole story. They got a whole life. They got, hey, that person's calling out Lisa. What was their relationship? He clearly cared about Lisa. Don't you feel bad now? And you move on and you don't care.
Names, but I actually kind of like it. It adds another level of realism, and other games have done it before. However, I think it is really silly that there are only like 10 enemy character models. If you're gonna painstakingly name every NPC, at least make them look different.
They're not painstakingly all named.
No.
They probably just went down their list of people that worked on the game and went, Frank!
Yeah,
Jill.
They got somebody in a booth that just went, oh no, Frank. Oh no, Jill. Oh no, Edgar. Just with a different voice 10 times. And it's just, okay, you're moving on now.
But anyway, once a fight does break out, the gunplay is explosive and heavy hitting. The guns...
Just like The Last of Us 1?
Yeah. From what I see, I watched 2 people play this. And the
I actually played it.
It's fairly similar to the first one. It's...
Yeah.
I've heard no real, like, innovations or anything anyone said outside of, like, you can jump now.
And there's like, better traps and stuff. There's, like, better things you can craft.
And Abby Punch. Big Punch.
Really feel good in this game, and it felt like I was actually in a life or death gunfight.
That's because your difficulty was cranked all the way up and one shot kill you.
Whenever I saw a group of humans, I got super excited to try and find an ideal route for taking everybody out while conserving as much ammo as possible. I used the guns so infrequently that it felt really good whenever I was left with no choice but to tap into my ammo and just go crazy on people.
Wouldn't it have been better if he showcased a moment where he didn't use the guns?
Yeah, that would be... Yeah.
However, the zombie fights were still kind of hit or miss for me, even on the higher difficulty. Their AI is kind of bad, and yeah,
because they're sprawling monsters just swinging wildly. They're not intelligent creatures. They're just running full force
they're gonna
at
be random like that. That makes a whole lot of sense. I don't know what would you want? Them going about their patrols? What?
You want them to be like, oh, they came from there. They're monsters.
AI is kind of bad, and yeah, I get they're zombies, but most of the time you don't have to think too hard to get past them. And while
Because they're zombies. A lot of times in all types of zombie media, if you just got one zombie, it's not too hard to get around. The problem is numbers and being hidden. So if you think you have two to deal with and you deal with two, and then one runs behind you, you're screwed. That's how zombie stuff goes. So you shoot one, they scream out when you thought you got a headshot, but you didn't. They start running for you, and now all these other ones are running for you. Now you gotta run.
And what did he mean by the AI is bad? Did he quantify that?
I guess he means that they just run up to you, as opposed to like tactics of the humans and stuff where they hide behind things.
See, that's a Cosmo thing where he just throws something out and just goes, you know what I'm saying?
I got really excited for each encounter with the humans, I felt equal amounts of dread whenever I heard zombies nearby. However, the one fun thing is that if you're good enough, you can just melee the zombies and save some ammo. There's even this mini-boss that I had to fight later on, and I didn't really have any ammo to spare, so I found out that I could just beat the shit out of him with my bare hands as long as I dodged his counterattacks. That was pretty fun. I was actually glad that I got to do that. But I still wish that there were less zombies and more humans, which is sad.
There are so many human fights in this thing.
Yeah, a whole lot. Especially once you start getting to the Scars and Abby section, there's a whole lot.
I'd say it's probably like a 70-30 as far as encounter goes of humans to infected things.
Because this is a zombie game. Now, maybe I'm a masochist, but I actually really did enjoy restarting whenever I didn't nail my run the way I wanted to. Whenever I made it through an area but I ended up using way too much ammo, I ended up restarting because I kind of had to. You only got one bullet every once in a while. Personally, this is how I like playing games, but if this isn't for you, then don't play on the highest difficulty.
Personally, people like using waypoints.
Yeah.
But if it's not for you, it's the fault of the game developer. Why would they put in a higher difficulty instead of just having the balance? Well, again, why are you excusing one thing, but then heralding it for another? That is basically the same thing.
Very odd.
It's just gonna hurt your feelings. If I was scoring the combat on its own, I would say on the hardest difficulty, I got like an 8 out of 10 experience out of that. But on medium, I was bored out of my fucking mind, and it was not an experience that I would like to relive. I understand that not everybody is a masochistic gamer like me, and some people just want to get through the story and they don't care about the gameplay that much. But I played it on the hardest difficulty, and I really only liked it because I was on the hardest difficulty, so I think that's worth noting. So anyway, now we gotta talk about the real meat and potatoes of this game, the story. And you can't do that without spoiling, so I'm gonna spoil the game now, okay? That's your warning. Don't yell at me. I'm gonna spoil it. Let's go. Honestly, the story of this game is a mixed bag, and that's putting it lightly. There are aspects of this story that I absolutely love, and there are a lot of things that left me baffled. Truly and utterly baffled on why they chose to do things the way that they did them. But my annoyance is mostly at the fact that people are mad at the wrong things in this game. A lot of people...
You can't say people are mad at the wrong things. Let people be mad at whatever they want to be mad at. If people are mad at the gameplay, are you going to say it's the wrong... What?
I disagree.
Oh, really?
I think you can be mad at the wrong things. Just like people are mad at Sakura for being useless. Mm-hmm. No, you should be mad that she's a bad character.
You can also be mad at the fact that she's... No, they're mad... They're also...
What was the alarm even for?
It said Amazon. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with Amazon. We set that for 4 hours from now. Maybe I'll remember. But yeah, they're wrong in the fact that Sakura is useless in that. She has plenty of use.
Okay, so I guess depending on what they're mad about, they can be wrong.
As long as... If it's wrong, that If they're wrong when they're saying something and they're mad about it, absolutely. Like Ichigo doesn't have character development, and I'm mad about that. That's wrong, and you're wrong for that. But going, Abby killed Joel,
and I like Joel, so Abby sucks.
Yeah,
they could be mad at that.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay.
Just mad at the fact that Joel died.
Nope, they're not just mad at that. There's also, people feel it's very heavy-handed in the revenge bad.
My hand is up for that.
All right. People feel that it's very, I'm SJW-ish with lesbian agendas. Abby's muscular.
The type of quartering fans that are just like attacking people for being women, essentially being women.
Stuff like that. There's plenty of reasons why people are mad. People aren't just mad at the Joel thing. People are mad that it's so long. People are mad that it's quite boring.
Hand up, hand up.
But there are other people that are mad at the Joel thing. Like our brother. Our brother, he was playing it. He's like, wow, this isn't very good. And the Joel thing happened. He got through the section where where she was going through her house, and then he just put it down, just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not playing this again. And he did not. What was the stat of people getting to the end?
When I played the game, it was something like 28%. It was some weird. Here, let me turn on my PS5 real quick to see the trophy.
Because that's a very not good stat.
Yeah, and people liked Joel.
Yeah, people really like Joel. And it's not just the fact that he died. It was how he died. The fact that he hadn't gotten...
he died like a beast.
With that one line.
That one line killed everything you could possibly say. What do you mean?
But yeah, the fact that he wasn't in it for all that long.
Yes, EA, I get it.
No,
Jesus
but you don't
Christ.
get it. The fact that they put him in the trailer in a later moment than he was actually in... I'm trying here.
Yeah,
you're ruining it.
It's
ruining it.
For some reason, it just refused to go to my home screen. It actively refused.
That's the PlayStation 5 Sony Entertainment System for you.
No, it's in EA just going, oh, you weren't online for 3 seconds. Time to go through 9 menus again. I'm new to the PS5, so I don't know where my trophies are. There we go. Last of Us. Let me do earned. Complete the story. It was 62. Okay. 60%. That's not bad.
Yeah. That's about what I expected.
I think it was lower when I did this though. Like way lower.
Yeah, I remember you saying that it was quite low. Maybe Game of Year's spurred people to go get it and try it and buy it and
finish it and actually pick it up and finish the stupid thing. So yeah, no, that's a pretty good number.
Yeah.
We were incorrect. EA, I get that I go offline when I go into rest mode. Let me get back to my menu.
You haven't earned it. No.
So many people in my chat who are angry that Joel doesn't get a redemption arc, which...
he gets one. I don't think his thing was redemption because he even said to Ellie, I
did what I did and I do it again.
And I do it again.
There was no redemption there.
He was not sorry about it.
And what could you do to redeem him if you think he needs redemption?
Yeah, I don't think he needs redemption.
But if you do think that he needs redemption, what do you think he can do? Oh, I actually have an immunity and I'm going to sacrifice myself. What can be done?
Unless he finds another doctor that could do it and give Ellie the choice. Like,
yeah, there's what I would have liked is just a conversation between Joel and Abby. That would have been great instead of him not knowing at all why he died. From what we know,
but he also was just like.
That was a good moment. We're past that moment.
I'm never getting past it. That's gonna
but
take it
even still, you go say whatever you gonna say and get speech you got rehearsed and let's get this over with. But she didn't. You would think she would ask some questions or something. That's a big missed opportunity.
No, I don't think she would ask questions because I think that she did I just close this thing out? Okay, no, I just hit search desktop. I think she knows why people do the things they do in this zombie apocalypse. I know I'm going to it, but she's still mad about it because it was somebody she cared about.
I would have questions, and not even
Ellie have questions
for who? For whom?
Anybody she killed. She didn't even have questions for Abby.
Yes, she should have.
No, that's what I'm saying. They understand why people do the things they do. That means nothing to them.
I'm saying in the terms of gameplay and storylines, it would have been better for them to have a conversation about these things. Abby and Abby and Ellie.
I don't necessarily know if it would be better. It might just be different. It would be better for getting things more fleshed out or something. But I don't necessarily know if things needed to be fleshed out there or if it's just like an understanding that people are like this and they have their reasons for doing the things they do. And I just don't care about your reasons. I care that you killed somebody I care about.
Yeah, I understand that point of the thing, but I think that it still would have been better if a conversation.
Yeah, I can't agree or disagree with that.
Because, again, we don't get a whole lot of Joel. Abby and Ellie, they're just basically on two separate paths, and when they do collide, it's just all about kill, murder. Mm-hmm. When she was hanging up, it would have been great if she was like, "Why'd you do it?" Anything, but she just cut her down, and then all of a sudden, I can't let you leave.
Yeah,
it's weird. That seems like there was a cut scene there.
Angry that Joel doesn't get a redemption arc, which isn't even really all that true because he does admit his lie to Ellie and they do talk about it a little bit.
No, that doesn't redeem him.
Yeah,
he just fesses up to it because he had no other choice.
There were no options. She had figured it out.
She figured it out, and then if you lie to me, you'll never see me again. So what happened? And he was like, "Oh, okay, I did what I had to do."
But he also didn't explain himself properly. If he would have just like, look, they knocked me out while I was trying to resuscitate you. They were about to kick me out with no guns as they promised. They were going to operate on you without your consent. He just went, they were going to operate on you and I had to kill them all. He didn't explain himself properly there.
I don't think any explanation would have sufficed.
I think it would have.
I don't think the without your consent would have been good. Now, I honestly think they should have woke her up and asked her what she wanted to do. But I also think they were like, look, this is the cure for humanity. Even if she don't agree, we need this.
Yeah. But at the same time, even if you look at that aspect of it, you think they would go, okay, let's run some tests. Let's figure something out. Let's figure out why she has it. Maybe she can pass it on to her kids. They just went the same day, the same hour, cut her head open.
Well, it was like a specimen in her brain or something.
Yeah. But they couldn't do any kind of test. They went, here's this girl. We got her. Cut her open. Same day.
But how do you even test if she can pass it out? I don't think it was a DNA thing. I think it was something that was implanted in her head that they needed to remove.
We don't know that.
No, he says there's a specimen that I need to cut out and it's gonna kill her.
Then why'd you say I think?
Because I'm just not remembering.
Okay.
He says there's a specimen in her head that I need to cut out.
Okay, but there could still be tests or something done to see if you could properly get it out of her head without. Again,
brain surgery.
It's the same. Almost, it's the same day. They're like cut her open. No kind of test. No kind of nothing.
I think they did run a test. That's why he was like, I gotta do this and it's gonna kill her.
But it was in between the time of Joel being knocked out, Joel waking up, and Joel storming the hospital. And they were already ready to cut her open. Mm-hmm. Again, what could that be? 3 hours? 4?
That's enough time.
That's not enough time.
The weird thing is, why wasn't her head shaved?
That's what I was thinking, but I'm just like, that we're not thinking about that.
Really, genuinely think that Joel was the hero of the first game. People played that game and watched the ending and thought to themselves, wow, Joel saved his daughter from those bad doctors. What a hero. I had people in my chat saying that his death was unfair because they brutally murdered, and I quote, a beloved character. Joel is not a fucking beloved character. Winnie the Pooh
not.
is a beloved...
What does he think a beloved character is?
Winnie the Pooh.
If people in the chat are mad that Joel died...
You're not mad. I'm mad that Joel died. No, you're not.
Why would you be mad? This character is hated and not beloved.
You don't like Joel. Why are you mad? Why Winnie the Pooh? Wait a second. This is where I think he's just sort of... He has like this troll streak going. Because he goes Winnie the Pooh. But also in the last JoJo video, he goes like... Oh, you know who's it was a character that's on the chain, Paddington Bear. Like, wait, what the are you talking about?
Character. Joel is not a fucking beloved character. Winnie the Pooh is a beloved character. Joel is a violent anti-hero.
Yeah, okay. Violent anti-hero that is beloved. Yes. He is a character that people beloved.
Wolverine, Deadpool. Can you not
Punisher.
be both? Are you saying that they're mutually exclusive? You can't spec it to both of them? You can't be a violent murderer and be beloved?
Friggin' Magneto's beloved. Joker's beloved.
How many examples do we have to give? Who cares if he's a violent character? We see how he got there. We see his softer side. We see him warming up to Ellie. We see him with his daughter. We see a bunch of stuff. It's not like this is just some random dude. We got to know this dude all this time and see why he's doing this exactly.
And when in The Last of Us 1, does he torture anybody? Does he do anything where it's just like so heinous that we can't attach to what he did? Well, I understand, even if I don't agree, I understand why he did what he did at the hospital. I understand why he does all the things he does. It's not like you murdered a child just to murder a child. And even then, he can still be beloved. People love him.
Going back to the first game where he saw the person like, help, help. And Ellie's like, stop. He's like, no, this is a trap. And it was obviously a trap. We see all this stuff.
That means that at some point, he did try to help people that were doing that type of thing, and he got trapped. Or he saw somebody or heard stories about it.
Because he was just like, I've been on both sides of that. So he knows this. So he has been trapped like that before. You can...
He's not an inexcusable monster.
This is already...
violent anti-hero. There are scenes in the first game where he murders people just because he wants to. I think a lot of people...
Who? Where? When? What's the context? That guy? Where he wasn't giving up the information where his daughter was?
And he slowly shot him and just kept asking where.
The people that he tortured, like, okay, point to the map, and then you point to the map.
And it better line up.
To find out where his daughter was as she was about to be assaulted? Or eaten?
Or both?
What people, the people that he was chasing, that were chasing after him? Who are you talking about? When they pieced out from, what was it, Bill or Bob?
Bill. When
they pieced out from Bill, it's like, all right, peace out, Bill. Bam. No!
Hey, you got some good stuff here. Bam, bam. All right, Ellie, grab it all up.
And again, you see, no example.
This example, but it's without context.
Yeah. And there's a reason. He just kills people. No.
Just because he wants to.
Just because he wants to. That's false.
What he says literally right there is where. So, why is he killing that guy? Is he trying to learn a location? Or is it just because he wants to murder, shoot, bang, bang somebody?
And not, a minute before, he had the gun trained on Joel, ready to kill him. Life and danger. There are plenty of reasons here.
Murders people just because he wants to. I think a lot of people wrongfully believe that this is a story about how you have to protect your loved ones no matter the cost. Joel saves Ellie because he desperately does not want to lose another daughter. There is no point where he grapples with the morality of his choice. He wants to...
Never once. And good on him, whatever. Yeah. That's his character.
If he think he made the right decision, then let him. That's him.
Does this mean he can't be beloved?
Yeah.
You're basically saying that people think the story is this, and because of that, they love Joel, as opposed to going, I understand everything that Joel did, but I still love the character.
Save
You
Ellie.
can disagree with it and still be like, yo, I still like Joel.
Yeah, I like Joel.
I personally wouldn't have done that, but I can see why he did that based upon all the stuff that we saw before.
He grapples with the morality of his choice. He wants to save Ellie. He does not care about curing humanity. This is a sad ending.
He does care about curing humanity. He doesn't care about it at the expense of Ellie. If it was just like, yeah, Ellie's going to get this little surgery. She'll be up and about in 2 days. You can take her out of here if you want. I don't care. But it's like, no, it's going to kill her. Oh, no, we're not allowing that.
Humanity is doomed, but because we spend the whole game watching these two learn to care for each other, and bantering and joking and sharing personal heartwarming experiences with each other, and now that's ruined forever. Ellie knows in her heart that Joel is not telling the whole truth, and that he lied.
No, she really didn't. Because
She suspected.
She may have suspected, but she was still very surprised when it came up.
What she actually found out.
Yeah. So maybe there was like
It was a niggle in the back of her mind where it's just like...
Of course, if you're not seeing what exactly happened in the hospital, you're going to be like, is he telling the truth? But if you look at this right here, outside of Last of Us 2, you'd be like, okay, this is like a 70% chance that she knows exactly what's the diggy. But with the knowledge of The Last of Us 2, I'm like, this is like 10%.
To her face even though she told him not to. And because of that, she can never really forgive him again. There's virtually
No,
nothing...
they were pretty cool before
For quite a while.
Before the second hospital thing.
It even goes, you've been acting a little strange lately, which means for a time she was not acting quote unquote strange. She even took her to the space thing where she could be an astronaut and all that.
That was a great scene.
Story at all, and yet people still see Joel.
He was heroic in the story at points, but the ending he was not. He was a monster.
Well,
As a...
if you are on the train of humanity being rescued really does nothing for me, the player. I want to see Ellie alive. That's where it comes in that he is the hero.
Even if you're on the train of, PTSD, it's just like, I understand what Joel's going through, and it's not really his fault that he's this way.
Yeah, he could be seen as the hero.
I personally don't, but, people can see him as the hero based on whatever their inclination for hero is.
All, and yet people still see Joel as a hero. If Ellie had it her way, she would have died, because at this point, she is not a selfish person. From her perspective, Joel took the choice away from her. And now this story explains...
But the Fireflies never gave her a choice either.
Exactly.
So, they both took the choice away from her. We're going to kill you, and I'm not going to let you get killed.
But it is kind of bad that he killed the one doctor that knew everything about it. But it's also kind of bad that that doctor also did not teach anybody what he knew or wrote it down or put it in a memo or anything. So it Last of Us 1 is kind of, that ending is kind of really bad once you start to pick it apart.
It's bad when you pick it apart based on the context of The Last of Us 2. Because everybody's just like, that was the only doctor, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that means this guy just didn't, even though he had students, didn't teach them anything about what this was about in case something happened to him. You don't know that he's the only doctor. There could be, y'all basically in Seattle and y'all just stuck there. Or Washington, y'all basically just stuck there, roughly in that area. What about the whole East Coast?
Yeah. And really,
what about the South or the Midwest?
How did he know about the brain surgery and everything? If you look at The Last of Us 2 again, where they're using that knowledge, he looks to be, maybe 50?
I was thinking early 40s.
Even if he, let's say 50. Mm-hmm. The apocalypse has been going on for 20 years at that point. That's 30. And to become a doctor, that's automatically 28 years old? So he had 2 years of experience before the apocalypse happened? And now he's the only person for these 20 years who could do this operation?
Where would he get the research to get a vaccine to like
distribute it?
Yeah.
How would
he test it and store it and apply it and all this other stuff?
And then he's part of the Fireflies, which is like a warring group with other places. So if they go, haha, we have the cure, of course they're gonna storm it and kill him, and with him, the entire vaccine dies. Last of Us 1, the ending is kind of borked.
In the context of The Last of Us 2.
Story explores how Ellie takes on Joel's traits. The game opens with her learning how to play guitar like he does. And then we also see her become more comfortable with killing like he was.
Ooh, that's bad. That's a bad example, sir. She's quite traumatized.
She tortures that person and then is completely shaken up.
Immediately traumatized. But Joel tortures is like, where's my daughter? And he shows up next scene. He's fine.
You see her exacting her revenge in the same way as him, except it takes a toll on her. I personally...
Those two things aren't... You can't say those two things.
They're not contingent with each other.
That's a really bad sentence that you just gave. She's fine with torturing.
She's more comfortable with torturing, but it takes a toll on her.
That's a tighten up that script. I'm getting flashbacks.
Dude, PTSD.
Toll on her.
PTSD.
I personally
Bleach.
love this shit, and I love how Joel's death has consequences for every character. It's handled wonderfully. But people are mad. They're mad because you don't kill Abby and get revenge in the end, and I cannot understand that at all.
Yeah, that's a dumb thing if they're mad that you don't get revenge on Abby, since it's supposed to be about breaking the cycle of revenge. Yeah, that's stupid. If they're mad about that.
But again, that's boiling it down to one singular reason why it's happening.
They're not wrong about it.
They're not entirely wrong about it. I believe that the reason why she chooses to spare her is bad. That moment is bad. The fact that she does, you can look at it either way. I would have personally preferred a choose your own ending at that point. Like Mass Effect, like, oh, the whole story didn't matter up until this point. Now you make the choice, and then the endings branch. But then again...
If there's The Last of Us 3, I don't think they're going to want to do that.
But I was thinking the same thing with The Last of Us 1, but it was just like... I don't think that they were planning on making a 2, because if they did, it wouldn't have taken 10 years. But if The Last of Us 1 came out and it was like, walk out, peace out, world gets better, or take Ellie, you have to go, okay... They take her out 10 years later, flash forward, and everything is fine. You have to go, well, how did they do that? So I think it is kind of better that. But yeah, they should have done a killer or no. They should have let you control this. Right here, just mash or not mash. Something. But it's just...
All. At the end of the game, our two protagonists have this crazy final battle.
You know what I would have loved to see? If she did kill her? And then it's like 10 years in the future. Let's even make this the non-canon ending, because I think Injustice 2 has a canon and a non-canon ending, depending on if you pick Superman or Batman as that final battle. One of them is going to end up to be the canon of whatever they want to continue with, and one isn't. So let's make this the non-canon. It's 10 years in the future, and that kid grows up and comes back and gets revenge on Dina and the kid in front of Ellie. You took my person away, I'm going to take your people away, and the cycle of revenge continues.
Hey, that's great. You know what? Maybe not even do that. Have the choice. But if you had done enough with the kid, you get enough affection points with Abby, then he goes into, I want to take revenge now. Mm-hmm. Make it like dialogue choices and you level up. So if you didn't level him up enough, you don't get that ending. She's fine, everybody's fine. But if you do, boom, that's what happens.
And as Ellie is drowning Abby, she flashes to an image of Joel. And at first I thought this was just some cliche way to remind us that, oh no, Joel wouldn't want Ellie to do this. But later, we see that she was actually flashing back to a very specific scene where Joel and her are talking about forgiveness. And I would say that that's the theme of the game. Ellie has to learn how to forgive Joel for what he did, and then she has to learn how to forgive Abby. So no,
okay,
this isn't...
it's a problem when you look at it like, this is the person that took away my ability to forgive that person. She says, I can't forgive you right now, but I would like to try, which means that she is not at that forgiving stage. Because the very next scene that he sees her, he's getting clubbed. So she never got that chance to forgive him because she took that away. And you're flashing back to that moment of just going, yes, I would like to forgive you. And then you stop choking her. That doesn't really track. If he had gone something like, don't be like me, stop all this. Because there was a certain point where, what was the Asian dude's name?
Jesse.
Jesse was just like, yeah, your old man's, he's really on my neck. Talking about going on patrols and everything. If he had gone like, look, don't be like me, don't be any of this. You can just be here with Dina or whoever you want to be. Stop going on patrols, whatever. Just be happy and safe. That would have been one thing. But it's just like, I want to forgive you and I'm going to stop choking you. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Even with the theme of forgiveness.
Not a story about revenge. It is a story.
It absolutely is a story about revenge, but it's a story about trying to break the cycle of revenge. Because, hey, Joel killed my father, so I'm going to kill Joel. Well, you people killed Joel, so I'm going to kill you. Well, you killed my friend, so I'm going to kill the people you care about. Well, okay, I spared your life. I spared your life and Tommy's life and Dina's life, and everybody goes on and they're good. No, you killed my people and now I gotta come back and kill you. And it's just gonna keep going and keep going and keep going until multiple people are dead for essentially no reason.
Probably could have just ended if they had killed Ellie while she was just like, I'm gonna kill you all. Because there was nobody there. Nobody saw them. They were just scot-free. But that's not the story we're trying to tell here.
Forgiveness, which is much more interesting to me. If you got to this scene and you thought that the best narrative choice is for Ellie to kill Abby, then I truly cannot fathom how you consume stories.
It would be because she was unable to break the cycle of revenge. It could be the best narrative thing depending on how they want to continue the games.
Or how you implement that. But again, just flashing the Joel out of context really in that moment, it's not really doing anything.
Because to me, this was never a revenge story. I never saw it that way. Ellie and Abby both...
At what point did you not see this as a revenge story?
Look at the cover.
Because, one, you don't get this whole thing of forgiveness until near the end. And two, 89% of the game is them going, I'm trying to get revenge on this person.
If you look at Abby's section... What did she... I guess she's forgiven the scars? But no, she's forgiven one of them. So what does her section have to do with forgiveness? Who is she forgiving? Did she even attempt to try to forgive Joel? No. So you're looking at half the story is about forgiveness. And the other half is just chilling with a kid, I guess.
Suffer immensely for the things they've done wrong. Abby takes revenge on Joel and it causes all of her friends to die. Then she's tortured and enslaved for months. And
the torture has nothing to do with Joel.
Absolutely nothing.
That's like going, well, I just killed somebody, but then my dog died. No! Your dog just died. She was in the wrong place, wrong time, and she got caught. That's all that happened. That's a terrible point.
Crucified. When Ellie starts trying to get revenge, it ends with her having absolutely nothing. She's left with no one.
Yes, she was stupid. She was too focused on revenge instead of just going, okay, we're good. I've got a family. I should be happy. No, I need this revenge.
But then she wouldn't have lost her two fingers and at least had that little piece of Joel if not for the ending. Again, the ending is kind of bad because she's hanging up and she ropes her down. And that's number one. Just like, if you wanted that revenge, you just look at her and you just stab her like leg as she dies. Number two, she goes, I'm not going to let you leave. We're going to have a fair fight and I'm going to kill you here. But she still has a knife. If you were just going to be like, we're going to have...
And she's been without food for a few days. She's been hanging up. She's barely alive.
If you were going to have a weapon, why not have the gun that you have and just go pop, pop? Do you want to have a fair fight or not? If you do, put the knife down. If not, shoot her.
Really like how both of these stories mirror Joel's adventure in the last game. For instance, Joel makes a selfish choice in the first game, and it damages his relationship with Ellie forever.
No, it
At
didn't.
the end of this game, Ellie makes a selfish choice by leaving Dina to try and go get revenge, but it damages her relationship with her forever. This is the level of storytelling that I want from this series. I love shit like this.
But that's a problem because she was mentally really damaged. She could not get over this thing.
Yeah, she had PTSD and everything.
No matter how hard she tried.
She was in the barn just wrangling up animals, and then she's just in a fetal position,
Yeah, this is
basically crushing the kid.
And there's no therapist here. There's no real way to get over it. If you look at her diaries, did you look at her diaries?
Yes.
Yeah, this has been going on for quite some time, and she's like, "I'm not getting any sleep, any of that stuff."
And she even says that to Dina. I don't sleep. I don't eat.
What is the ending for Ellie here? Does she just continue down this path of just like, I guess I'm just screwed up forever,
and just hope that it fixes itself eventually? That she just gets over it?
Because she won't. Because she clearly didn't.
After all this time, it's been at least 9 months plus however old the kid is, and she's not over it.
So she's not getting over it. This is the only logical ending.
Strong themes that permeate.
I don't care about themes.
Throughout the whole story. I remember when the first game...
Pause. Go back.
Strong themes that permeate throughout the whole story.
That's the theme of revenge, not the theme of forgiveness.
Now
it's
you
only
get
at the end.
It could recontextualize
pew, pew, pew.
the story at the end by going. It's a story about forgiveness, but you can't say that you never saw it as a story about revenge, because that's just false until you get. Because then it doesn't recontextualize. It just gives you context of you going. It was never about revenge. See.
Level of storytelling that I want from this series. I love shit like this. I love having strong themes that permeate throughout the whole story. I remember when the first game came out and people were furious that you had to kill the doctors and make Joel do the bad thing. But that's the shit that I love. I actually really like that these games don't give us a lot of choice. It is a little heavy-handed.
People were just like, hey, this is for the good of humanity. Why are you doing this? This sucks. Mm-hmm. They basically wanted a choice of let me kill these people or not.
Okay. I wasn't back then.
Yeah. Just like when I was fighting Abby, it's just like Stryker when she's down on her knees, and I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Can I walk away? And then she gets back up and starts fighting, and I'm like, whoop, I just got to.
Yeah, this is the only thing.
Cause I'm like,
there should be like if you step over here, you get the secret ending. But no, it's just you're on rails.
These games don't give us a lot of choice. It is a little heavy-handed in some scenes, but
a little. Hey, the person we worship never preached violence. That's just people taking their words and twisting it. Wink.
You
what
get
a
it?
heavy
You get
hand.
it? And even without that, it's just the whole story. It's just revenge.
Until it isn't.
Look at what revenge is doing to you. She takes off her shirt and she got all the bruises. Oh, revenge bad. That's the theme. Revenge bad.
Yeah, basically. You've got to break the cycle of revenge.
Yeah.
Is not about us, the player. It's about the characters. If Ellie gets attacked by a dog and almost dies, she will kill the dog to survive. You don't get to spare the dog because Ellie wouldn't spare the dog. We as an audience have become far too...
There was an interview with the developers before this came out, and they were just like, you don't have to kill any dogs if you don't want to. You can, because they were like, oh, we love animals. People were like, we love animals. We don't want to kill. He was like, you don't have to kill any dogs if you don't want to.
You can sneak past them or something.
But then you had to right there. And then they immediately hit you with that combo of, look at this fun dog. Play fetch with him twice. You must. Don't you feel bad for this dog now that you killed with no choice?
the idea that our choices are the one thing that matter in video games. Some games really benefit from taking
Wait, I don't know. What did he say?
the dog because Ellie wouldn't spare the dog. We as an audience have become far too comfortable with the idea that our choices are the one thing that matter in video games.
What? No.
What choice do you have in something like Call of Duty?
Like, what choice do you have in Final Fantasy X, Persona? I guess you do have a little bit of a choice in the end. Like, hey, forget the world and all. But something like...
No, that's Royal, though. What about the original? What choice do you really have? I mean, if you don't figure things out, you got a choice in Persona 4, where it's just like, throw them in the TV or no. Mm-hmm. But, like...
Do we have to go through the list of games where your choice don't matter?
What's your choice in the Arkham games?
Yeah. Come on now. Yakuza Like a Dragon is a great game. No choice.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. Essentially, we're just on rails, and sometimes there's side contents.
Did he say that we're too accustomed?
Too accustomed.